Hello there, everyone. If you're just joining us now, we're just going to do a quick sound check. I'm here with Lisa. Lisa, if you can say something for me.
Hello, everybody.
If you're watching the replay, just skip ahead a little bit. Let's see. Here we are. Do we have
Facebook
sound?
can be a finicky.
Hello there, everyone. If you're just joining us now, we're just going to do a quick here with Lisa. Lisa, if you can say something for me.
Hello.
There we go. We've got sound. All right. So I am here with Lisa, and she is an emotional resiliency expert. And I had to practice saying that because you try and say that 5 times fast. So Lisa and I have had the joy of being in a mastermind together, and I've just have so much respect for what she does with people, and what she does matters so much. So I want to throw it to Lisa immediately to actually explain to us what that means. What does it mean to be emotionally resilient, and how do you help people?
Well, first, thank you for inviting me on, because It's always great to spend time with you. And I'm always so honored when people share me with their audiences. So I just wanted to say thank you to you for that. So what I do is I help high achieving men and women create greater impact and influence by putting their emotional and physical well-being first.
And we all need this.
Right.
Everyone that's a high performer needs to listen to this episode.
Exactly. So emotional resiliency is about really tuning in and paying attention to how you're feeling, not being ruled by your circumstances, and taking full responsibility for how you're showing up in the world. Mm-hmm. So whether you're reacting or responding to your circumstances, and how you really are treating yourself. Yeah. And most of us put ourselves at the bottom of our priority list.
Yeah.
Right? So
absolutely.
I want to start by saying, because I want people to really pay attention to this, things we love, we take care of.
Yes.
And if we're not taking time to care for ourselves, it will limit the amount that we can influence and impact other people. And if people are following you, I know they're here because they have a huge mission in this world. Mm-hmm. They're here to transform lives. You can't do that if you're breaking down physically and emotionally. No. End of story.
And so when I'm listening to what Lisa just said, is like there's so much empowerment in doing this for yourself. Right. I learned it the hard way by ignoring myself and what I actually need. I think all of us do this because we have this story in our head that in order to be successful, we have to make it as hard as possible. And that means you don't get to get enough sleep. It means you do not get to go to the gym. You have to have your bum in the seat hustling. So, Lisa, when people say that to you, when they go, well, I can't put my health first, what do you mean? Like, I don't have time to do that. What do you come back with? How do you get them to listen and understand?
So what I just said is things we love, we take care of. Mm-hmm. So it's having that honest conversation with yourself about, if you're not putting yourself first, if you're not making yourself a priority, in essence, what you're saying is, I don't matter. My business matters. My family matters. Everything else matters, but I don't matter. Mm-hmm. Well, how do you expect to have a huge impact in the world if you're not valuing yourself as a human being? Mm. Because our reality reflects back our beliefs about ourselves. So this story that I don't have time, would you ever say that to your kids? I'm sorry, I don't have time to feed you. Oh, I'm sorry, no, you don't get to have a nap. I know you're only 2, but you're just going to power through this. Mm-hmm. No nap for you. Would you ever talk to your kids or people you love in the way you're talking to yourself? So making time for you is not an optional thing. Like, are you really telling yourself that you're an inconvenience in your own life and that everything else is more important? So I want people to really think about that story that they're telling themselves and how they need to shift it. Because this is, you're going to be here as a human being, whether you're running your business or not, hopefully for many, many years. But if you don't start caring for yourself, it will impact what your future looks like.
On such a massive way, right? And it's, if we even take that a level deeper, it's this whole like, no, you can't love someone else and expect them to love you if you don't love yourself. Yeah. So again, coming back to that impact piece. So if you're not paying attention to yourself and you're not making yourself matter over the long run, you are not caring about your customer either, because you're going to burn out. You're going to miss all sorts of clues because you don't have that deep level of awareness to even respect yourself. So
that's right. It's self-care, and you and I have talked about this. Self-care isn't about booking yourself in for another mani-pedi. It can be, right? But when I talk to clients, when I'm working with my people, it's getting them to understand the foundational non-negotiables that will set their energy for the entire day. Things like making sure you're eating regularly.
Yes.
Not like, oh, geez, my stomach is eating itself. I better go get a snack. And then you grab whatever is there. It's really looking at your body as this high performance machine. If you're not fueling it properly, it's not going to keep showing up for you. You're going to have brain fog. You're not going to be able to articulate what you want to say to your people. It's, entrepreneurs are just another form of an athlete.
It's so
we have to
true.
Treat ourselves as such, right?
And it's so funny because I'm in such a routine with drinking water, and like on a regular basis, like I have a lot of fluid a day, right? So just bringing this really back to practicality. So yesterday I was out, I had a long day, and I didn't have enough water. By like mid-afternoon, I had the foggiest of brains. I was dead. The same this morning, all of a sudden, I was like, I am not right. And I pulled it back to, it's because I didn't have water. Like, I didn't have enough fluids yesterday. And I think, people, if you're not in tune with your body, because you're overriding it, right? Like, you're ignoring the signs that it's giving you. You might not be aware that this is actually what's happening. This is why you have a brain fog going on. The fact that you didn't feed yourself a proper meal 3 times a day, like these things matter so much. And I think for me too, what's really made a difference is realizing when I'm about to go into sabotage mode in my business, like when I'm about to like go and burn the house down and stopping myself before that and going, oh, I haven't eaten properly, or oh, I haven't exercised for a couple of days or a day or whatever my thing is, right? So I feel like we as human beings really need to get this down. And specifically as an entrepreneur, you need to, as Lisa says, start to look at yourself as this high performance athlete. And how do they operate?
Yeah. Right? Because an Olympic athlete wouldn't show up every day not feeding themselves, not giving themselves enough water, not getting enough rest. In fact, an athlete knows that the most important part of their training is their rest and recovery. Mm-hmm. Yet we don't look at that. We're like, oh my God, I got a second wind in the evening. I should push it. I could get out another PDF or record another thing. When that's actually our body saying there's something wrong, because you shouldn't get a second wind in the evening. Being tired creates mental noise. Like, we cannot be emotionally responsible when we're tired. We don't think straight. Our emotions take over. That's when the trash talk starts, that's when the sabotage, the self-doubt, the fraud, who do I think I am, all that kind of stuff. That's when it'll show up, when you're tired, right? Tired brain is kind of a jerk face, right? Couple that with now you haven't eaten. You haven't had enough water. Yeah. So there we've got, dehydration and fatigue are the same, like they look the same. We're not connected with ourselves, and our emotions are running the show now. So we now have disempowered ourselves. We've stepped into being a victim of our circumstances instead of recognizing these are all foundational pieces that we have to take 100% responsibility for.
And I'm like, weird. This is such an easy fix. This is not like rocket science. Nope. You have to read 400 books and nothing. This is available. Like, water is in your tap. Like, there's food in your fridge. If you're watching this, if you're on Facebook, I'm going to assume that things are going well for you, right? So it's just such an easy fix. So you know now, like people hear now, okay, well, actually, maybe I should start paying attention to this.
Right.
So you have decided that a lot of Lisa's messaging this year is like making 2019 the year where you make your health a priority. Mm-hmm. So how are you getting to get your clients to make that happen for themselves? Okay. What are some tips or tricks, just quick little fixes for people?
So this is a really great question, right? Because these foundational pieces that I just talked about, they should be second nature, right? Like every single client that comes to me knows that they should be taking better care of themselves, but why are they not?
Yeah.
And this is where the emotional resiliency piece comes in, because you have to have the courage to take a look at the stories that are driving the behavior. So why can't you stay consistent and committed to drinking your water or feeding yourself regularly? So when I said that things we love, we take care of, it's having the courage to really look at what you believe to be true about yourself. So one of the ways we switch this with clients beyond just having these intense conversations where I ask a lot of very big and disruptive questions. That's my role. I'm not here to soothe anybody's suffering. I have them create that vision that they want for themselves. And they have to work from the vision, not to the vision. And this is a lot of people are, well, when I get that success, then I'll take care of myself.
Oh, no,
then I'll make the time, right? Then I'll eat the food. Then I'll get the exercise. Then I'll take care of this whole connecting into myself. It's saying what does it look like to live from a place of peace and well-being? What does it look like to have physical and emotional well-being? Who do I need to be? What do I need to believe about myself? And you have to work from that. And it's about baby steps. It's about making commitments to those things, those actions you're going to take, whether it's drinking more water, whether it's making sure that you're taking breaks, right?
Yes.
You're taking breaks. It's a bedtime. For me, that was a big thing. I'm up at 5 a.m. My butt needs to be in bed early, period. End of story. It's a non-negotiable. I had to be willing to be committed to that. And then stay in integrity with my commitments.
And so here's now something else that I see happens a lot. Now, Lisa just said she's up at 5 a.m. And I think now people went, shit, I got to get up at 5 a.m. No. You have to figure out what is your circadian rhythm. We're all entrepreneurs, so you actually get to get up whenever you want to. If you don't have kids, then you're even luckier because then you really don't get to get up when you want to. If you have a family, things are a little different. But you do get to regulate when you get up in the morning if you work for yourself and, things are a little more peaceful in your, but even if it's not, you do get to regulate this a little bit, right? Like Lisa's getting up at 5. I'm sure her kids are not up at 5 or they don't need to be up at 5. Right? Nope. But you can decide. And I think this is something that we were just talking about in the beginning here of stop listening to what everybody else is saying of what your schedule should look like or what you should be doing. And the operative word here being should. Right. Start making it what feels good in my body. What feels good? How am I most productive? And it's different for everyone. And it's great to take other people's advice or listen to other people's advice, but then please do shift it and adapt it for yourself. Right. And don't let other people's rules become your blueprint.
And it's subject to change. So let's talk about this ideal day. I want to be clear here, guys. I don't love getting up at 5 a.m. This is not my dream to get up at 5 a.m. I take no pride in, oh, look at me, I'm up at 5 a.m. It works for the way my day is set out. So I get up, going to the gym is important. However, if I'm tired, so not just I'm cozy in my bed and I don't feel like it, but I'm genuinely tired, I'm not going to get up and go to the gym. And I see women all the time pushing, right?
Amen.
Oh, I spoke for 4 days and then I was up till 2 a.m., but I still got to the gym because, it's not about how you're feeling. It's about how you want to feel. Bullshit.
And so Lisa and I both have fitness backgrounds. Just FYI, that's how you get fat.
That is how you get fat. That's how you burn your body out,
Yes.
right? This is a high performance vehicle that I'm in.
Yeah.
I need to treat it with love and care. I know how to push myself. I can take myself mentally anywhere. That doesn't mean I should. Okay.
Yes.
So I want to be clear on that. That 5 a.m. wake up is subject to change. I get up, I go to the gym. Then on the way home, I give myself a 10-minute meditation. That's taken me years to establish that because sitting and being quiet is not my natural default setting. I'm a recovering overdoer, control freak, all the things. This is why I teach this stuff.
Hallelujah. Amen. She's preaching to
Thank
the
you.
choir.
Okay, so then I come home. I've got to get the family ready. They're out the door by 8 o'clock. From 8 until 11, there is nothing on my schedule that is intentional. That is time for me. I can work on my business. I can watch Netflix. Some days I watch Netflix because that's what I want to do. And then from 11 till 3:30, that's when I'm in my business on my coaching calls. So that works for me because I've learned if I leave my workout till the afternoon,
That would never happen.
it's not going to happen.
For me,
it
at
gets
least.
dark here. I don't like it. I'd rather just go and get it done. So you have to find out what rhythm works for you.
Yes.
But when I do have an opportunity to rearrange my schedule and say, okay, I want to work out, you knew this in the summer, I changed it around. So I was going to the gym in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
I loved it. But that was not what was going to work for me for my fall and winter hours.
Exactly.
So you do you.
Yeah, I love that. And then, so something that I want to pull out of that, where Lisa was just saying that she gets to work on her business from 8 till 11, or she gets to watch Netflix. I am busy reading this book called Psycho-Cybernetics.
Oh, I read that years ago. It's an amazing book.
I know, right? And so, but it's interesting because it's like, I've heard a lot of the stuff that he's saying, but in other books where it has been softened out a lot and maybe put more feminine energy to it. And it's very interesting to listen to this now with all the science that he puts behind it. But what I like about that is he says, your brain is set up in a way that you do not have to 24/7 think about a problem to solve it. You can actually give your brain I need the solution to this, walk away from it, go watch Netflix, and then come back and you'll have that aha moment, or you'll get that divine download. And if you're an overdoer, overachiever, high achiever, whatever we're going to call ourselves, then you know that you can execute like nobody's else. Like, you can put stuff in motion so fast. People are like, how do you do that constantly? So I think it's this whole thing of trust that needs to come in. We were talking about words for the year. My word is trust. Is trusting myself now that if I take off Monday morning from 8 till 11 to just chill out because my mind is saying that's what I need, my brain is pulp, Netflix is where I need to be, trusting myself that later in the week, I'm going to have the moment that I need, and then I'm going to have the energy and the inspired action and creativity to get things done. And I know I can execute super fast. So,
right. And that's at the heart of what so many people are struggling with when it comes to this pushing. They don't trust themselves to take their hands off the wheel. Like, they literally, that is... So this, again, the emotional resiliency is recognizing that is about control because you don't feel safe and you don't feel secure. But safety and security doesn't come from outside of you. That's something we create within ourselves. So until we have the courage to really sink into what we're feeling, right? When we remove the numbing behaviors, the doing all the time, that I have to force myself to go to the gym, I'm, people who are stuffing their face with food or whatever their numbing activities are. When we look at the emotions that are driving those behaviors, that's when we really create freedom. And that's what allows us to trust ourselves.
Yes.
If I take a day off from the gym, I don't lie there worried about, oh my God, I'm going to hell. My body's going to fall apart. I'm never going to train again. No, I know I'll go back because I'm committed to the long term.
Yes. And this is also something that I see a lot, again, from when I was back in my Pilates background, where clients would text me and go, I just had a donut. And I'm like, So you had a donut. Like, I hope you enjoyed the
on.
donut. Please have the donut and eat it guilt-free, right? And so I think bringing that back to even, again, in your business, taking time off, taking a break, like, do it guilt-free. Like, please stop with this whole, we all have to be on 24/7 and, you know, we got to hustle, and be the hardest working bee, because that's somehow how you're going to be rewarded.
Right. And we put so much value, like we actually attach our personal identity, value, and worth to our productivity. And that's not your value or worth. And as long as you're attached to that, you'll never, ever feel valuable.
No.
And that's, you know, again, that's an inside job. So I want people to achieve the things they want to achieve, right? We're all here for bigger impact and influence.
Yeah.
Fair. But we're here to actually lead a fulfilling, joyful life.
Yes. And so you're right. We're like in tune with each other here, Lisa, because that was where I was going to go next. I have actually also made it this my year where I'm just going to have a ton of fun doing stuff that I never ever, like, I'm always putting off. I'm always like going, well, maybe next year when I have time, when my business is here or when my business is there, then I'll have time to do that. And doing that, like, your life is going past you. Like, the only certainty that we have is now. And if you're not living to your fullest potential and the most joyous life right now, the one thing that's not a guarantee is that we don't know whether you're going to be here next year or tomorrow.
Isn't it interesting how we hold the things that are so important to us at arm's length, like this carrot? It's almost like we're afraid if we give that to ourselves now, we won't keep working, right?
Yes.
So it's I'll have fun when, because I have to earn it, instead of recognizing that's your God-given right. And the interesting thing is, when you sink into more joy and fulfillment and peace and well-being, you actually create greater success faster by doing less better. It's not the other way around, but we have to let go of that death grip on, you know, our productivity and how much that we do, and that I'm a hard worker, right? That our parents instilled in us. Thank you so much. Right? And we've got to let go of that.
Yeah. And I think it's also this, again, it comes back to that trust factor, right? Like, where it's like, I love this imagery that you just put there with this, like, carrot that's in front of the donkey, and that's the only way that you're going to work. I think trust yourself that you are an ambitious person. Your ambition isn't all of a sudden going to dry up because, you know, you took the carrot away and gave yourself fun and a vacation and more downtime now. I think you're going to be shocked by the results.
Right. Here's the thing. People do not recognize that they are addicted to the struggle. They do not realize they're addicted to the struggle and things being hard. They're literally, so if I were to look at a woman, say around her weight, women are terrified to accept their bodies, because if they feel like if they're not punishing themselves for their weight, they'll gain like 500 pounds. Okay. The same is true for entrepreneurs around the struggle. We're afraid if we give up this struggle that we literally are just going to kick our heels back and eat buttered popcorn all day and not do anything. It's not true. So for many of us, that struggle, I know in my life, it was really the thing that moved the needle for a long time. But these things only work until they don't work. You can't truly have a successful business unless you're ready to embrace thriving in your life. But thriving, for anybody who's lived with struggle forever, they don't even know what that means. They don't know how to step into it. But to truly be successful requires that you learn how to thrive and let go of struggle as the thing driving you, or as this like badge of honor.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think this is so great, because like, I think the other thing that happens here is this is such a coachy question that we ask all the time. We're like, well, how is that behavior serving you? And it's very important to remember, as Lisa just said, that at some point in time, that behavior served you. But you're going to continue to evolve, and then you have to continue to check in with yourself. Like Lisa's schedule in the summer. It served her in the summer. And then in the fall, it no longer served her. So it's, again, moving away from this cookie cutter idea of like, this is how things work and this is how they always work, and giving yourself permission and recognizing that you are an evolving person. Your business is an ecosystem that keeps evolving and keeps adjusting and keeps growing and adjusting things along the way.
Right. You have to really look like that. That question is, what do you hope to gain by staying stuck in that story or believing that? There was something that happened in my life, I'll share this, that really sat me back on my heels and had me recognize how much I was holding on to that struggle. And it's when I paid off all my debt and I had no more debt. And I literally felt lost in my business because I had been using that debt to drive me. But having that debt was not allowing me to actually create profitability. So the thing I said I wanted, right? Like, I don't want any debt. I want to have like an abundance. I want to I was never, ever going to give myself that at a subconscious level because that debt represented value to me. I just didn't see what it was giving me until it was gone. And then I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And then I had to redefine like, okay, yes, I'm here to serve people, but if I don't have this like big bad wolf nipping at my heels, how do I need to show up differently? Like now I really do need it to step into what it feels like to thrive instead of getting away from something. So whatever is going on in your life, if it's being that attachment to things being hard or believing you don't have time to take care of yourself, your responsibility is to really ask yourself bigger questions about what that belief is allowing you to continue to keep doing and what you're afraid you're going to be giving up if you let it go, because there is something at stake for you. The answer is there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Lisa, I think that's such a lovely point for us to end on. So I want to just make sure that people can learn more about you and, where can they get you and find more information. We're going to put it in the show notes, but while you're listening, if you're driving somewhere, where do we find Lisa Carpenter?
So I'm hanging out on Instagram these days, mainly on Instagram stories because they are quick and easy. So you can find me at Lisa Carpenter Inc. Incorporated, fancy schmancy. And you can find me on my website at lisacarpenter.ca. But by all means, if there's anything that came out of this conversation that you're curious about, or maybe it triggered you, you're like, no, I want to fight back here. Like, you don't know me. You don't know my circumstances. Please show up in my DM. I love triggering people because it means that there's something there that you're fighting for that you probably need to let go of. So just send me a DM. Carry on the conversation with me. Let me know what you took away, what annoyed you, what made you sit back and open your eyes, or maybe inspired you to do something different. But, I hope for all of your listeners that they really do step into that place of recognizing that if they want more, they have to show up for themselves in a bigger way first before they can impact others that way.
That is so important, like such an important message, and just everything that you said today. There's so much value and power in that, and I do hope that everyone checks out Lisa and that in the very least you walk away from this conversation and you give yourself permission to make this the year that you put yourself first. So Lisa, thank you so much for coming and being here with us. It's such a joy, and I'm excited to keep engaging with you, and I'm excited for our listeners to go and check you out as well.
Thank you so much.